Fine is one of those video game developers that, I will always check in on what they're doing.
I agree.
I think that they use humor better than most guys out there, and they do really some interesting stuff with gameplay. Today we're looking at Massive Chalice, which was a Kickstarter game. It is a turn-based game with a lot of interesting little twists. Obviously, the name comes from, basically, there is a massive chalice, a giant cup that speaks. It has a split personality. It has an old man and a woman in it, and it talks to you.
Our citizens, understandably, find it hard to trust a giant talking chalice.
We are not just a giant talking chalice.
In what meeting did the giant talking cup come up? We should have a giant talking cup that's like a man and a woman, and they kind of you're this immortal hero being trained by the talking cup to defend the realm.
And honestly, there's sort of two things going on. Basically, there is turn-based combat where you use these 5 heroes who... This is the other part of the game. There's a 300-year timeline, and you are creating sort of keeps and towers where you appoint a regent and get them married, and they make you babies, and they have heroes.
Let's dumb this down a bit. It's turn-based strategy nested inside a Game of Thrones house lineage simulator, I guess, where you're basically breeding generations of heroes to go into combat to defend your realm against this encroaching darkness called the Cadence. With the guidance of a giant talking cup, you're building castles around the world to house your heroes. You're doing research on new armor, new weapons, and then you're going into these battles where you're basically fighting these monsters, and every time you win over a territory, you defend it and prolong the bloodlines of your people, and the idea is to go through 300 years in-game until the Cadence, the bad guys, the darkness, has been banished.
And it's funny, the Double Fine wit is sort of there in...
I think it's pretty fully there.
Well, the chalice. It's the chalice.
The chalice.
Basically, it's what the chalice says, and it's funny, even after the opening tutorial, they're explaining all this keep and the genetic stuff, and it's where's the bad guys? It's yeah, it took a long time. Here they come now.
But do not despair. You can still command your heroes.
It's that knowing humor, and it's pretty good, but I don't know. It's one of those things that it felt bolted on into the rest of this game that is very cold and serious and doesn't match up to me.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm a huge fan of turn-based strategy games, so I really love that aspect of it. I would get these squads of 4 archers and an alchemist and just clean up, which is actually a weird thing. It's almost an overpowered combination.
Yeah.
The turn-based battles have become kind of samey by the time you're 150, 200, 250 years in. But I stuck with the game. I really, played it through the end where you actually defend the chalice from attack. And I don't know if I would ever play it again, but I really enjoyed the time I spent with it.
I just don't think it really worked, and their strengths aren't at the fore here. I think I wanted more variety in the sort of turn-based battle, and just a little bit, more fun. And again, I found the genetics aspect of it really kind of weird and off-putting.
It sounds like your cup did not runneth over with this game. What are you going to give Massive Chalice?
6.5 out of 10 for me.
I liked it a little more. 7.5 for me.